Allah'ım.
It was 7:53 p.m. when, without warning, the ground in Turkey's Balıkesir province began to shake with a force not felt in the region for years. The official magnitude was recorded at 6.1, powerful enough to trigger panic in multiple cities and test the structural integrity of hundreds of buildings. The epicenter was located in Sındırgı, a district that in a matter of seconds shifted from calm to full-scale emergency. The shock was quickly felt far beyond the epicentral area. Istanbul, roughly 200 kilometers away, swayed under the seismic waves. In Izmir, another major city in western Turkey, buildings rattled, objects fell, and thousands of residents poured into the streets in search of safety. The quake spared no one. Both large urban centers and small towns felt its impact. The force unleashed in those brief moments caused immediate destruction. In Sındırgı, at least 10 buildings collapsed. In Galkuk, a mosque minaret fell, and several homes crumbled, leaving the community in shock. In Manisa, 8 houses sustained serious damage, and 6 people were injured. Authorities confirmed casualties. 1 person lost their life, and 4 others were injured in the initial official count. The scale of the disaster prompted a rapid deployment of rescue teams, working against the clock to locate people trapped beneath the rubble. The first hours after the quake were critical. 5 people, including an elderly woman, were pulled out alive thanks to the coordinated efforts of firefighters, volunteers, and emergency personnel. Still, reports of individuals trapped in weakened structures persisted.
Deprem oluyor Bursa'da. Yaklaşık 15 saniyedir sürüyor.
The fear did not fade with time. In the hours that followed, at least 41 aftershocks were recorded. The strongest reached a magnitude of 4.6, powerful enough to widen cracks in already compromised buildings and reinforce the warning to stay away from damaged structures. Residents adapted as best they could. Many chose to spend the night outdoors in parks, plazas, and other open areas. Makeshift tents and blankets laid on the ground became temporary shelters while safety inspections continued. In some districts, power outages were reported and telecommunications became unstable. Technical crews worked to restore services, but safety checks in the hardest-hit areas slowed the process. By daylight, the extent of the structural damage became clearer. Streets were littered with piles of debris, damaged vehicles, and downed power poles. Cracks in the pavement were visible, and traffic was restricted on several roads due to collapse risks. In Galkuk, the fallen mosque minaret stood as both a symbolic and physical blow to the community. In Sındırgı, some streets were completely blocked by building debris, forcing crews to use heavy machinery to clear paths. Local authorities urged calm, but also warned residents to remain cautious. Interior Minister Ali Yerlikaya reported that AFAD and other emergency agencies were deployed not only in Balıkesir, but also in Istanbul and surrounding regions. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan addressed the nation, offering his support to those affected and pledging that all necessary resources would be made available for response and recovery.
Yıkıldı.
In the hardest-hit areas, neighbors organized to distribute water, food, and blankets. Acts of solidarity emerged despite the ongoing fear, while officials continued to assess the full extent of the damage. The number of collapsed or severely damaged buildings approached a dozen, not counting dozens more with lesser, but still unsafe structural damage. Engineers warned that some of these would require demolition. Ongoing aftershocks kept everyone on edge. Even seasoned rescue workers were forced to pause operations momentarily with each new tremor. Local hospitals treated patients for fractures, bruises, and anxiety attacks. While most were not in critical condition, the steady influx of cases placed additional strain on the regional healthcare system. Meanwhile, in Istanbul, authorities reported that while the quake was widely felt, no significant damage had been recorded. Inspections, however, continued to rule out hidden structural risks. Izmir faced a similar situation. Panic and evacuations occurred during the quake, but no major damage was reported. Authorities nonetheless kept teams on alert in case of further aftershocks. Local and national media broadcast live footage showing collapsed buildings, people fleeing mid-quake, and streets engulfed in dust. Coverage extended to ongoing rescue efforts and official press briefings. Clearing debris was a painstaking task. Every piece of rubble removed carried the possibility of uncovering a survivor or confirming the location of a victim. Time was critical. In rural areas, access proved more challenging. Some roads were blocked by landslides, requiring heavy equipment to clear. These delays slowed the arrival of aid to isolated communities. Coordination between local and national authorities, along with humanitarian organizations, was crucial. The first days after a major earthquake are decisive for saving lives and meeting the basic needs of those affected. Families who had lost their homes were relocated to temporary shelters. Some were housed in schools, community centers, or sports facilities quickly adapted to host evacuees. The memory of past earthquakes in Turkey added emotional weight to the tragedy. Many residents knew that recovery would be long, requiring not just physical reconstruction, but also psychological support.